For those of you joining now, we'll just give everybody enough time. We'll probably start 5 minutes after 2 p.m. Thanks. Can someone tell me if they can hear me okay? Typically, it takes a few minutes for all the students from several colleges to join. So we'll give them some time and then we'll begin. Well, all right. So, folks, let's get started. This is one of the sets of a four set series in product management. So, there will be four such sessions in various different semesters as we go forward. Now, none of these sets are really sequential, they're not connected that such that you have to learn a thing from the past set to do the current. So none of you are missing anything, and you can do any set at any point in time, right? But this semester we'll be doing the set A. All right. So let's see what we have got in this set A. All right. So while product management itself is a vast topic, we shall cover several key concepts, and we will learn a few techniques using case studies. And this is a pattern that you will see in all of our sessions. We use case studies, methods, techniques, and learn various different concepts, right? Now, especially in today's session, we are going to talk or drill down in more details on what does a product market fit mean, what is a growth strategy for a company, how do companies create roadmaps, and what is product discovery all about, how is it done, and then we'll actually look at creating one document that is a representative of a new product idea, right? But to understand product management really well, let's look at a current successful product, right? And when I say product, these products could be in various different domains. Does not have to be in the software only, or online only, cloud only, SaaS only, none of that, right? These products could be four wheelers, trucks, They could be, water bottles. They could be any various different utility items that you use, right? Today, we are going to look at this one product, which is, no points to guess there. This is a product called BookMyShow. And since it has, a huge market share, uh, I'm pretty sure that, many of you have used this product, right? So let's look at this product in a little more detail to understand what product management is all about, right? So this company is currently India's largest entertainment ticketing platform, right? But did that happen like suddenly? See on the timeline there, right? This company was formed in 1999 under some different name. I think from 99 to 2007 it was called something else. In 2007 it changed its name to Book My Show, and it is basically um, a reseller of movie tickets, and has a platform catering to cloud-based ticket booking of events, movies, sports, theater, play, you name it, right? So it is basically a ticket booking platform, and especially so when it comes to entertainment, right? It operates in 5 different countries, so with more than 30 million, so approximately 3.5 crores of customers is what it has today. And it is, I've been tracking this company for the last maybe 3 4 years, and it is ever growing, right? Though I must mention that in the COVID times it actually suffered a little bit of a dip. So in its 16 years, this company has seen ups and downs, right? From a very low initial capital to almost about 1400 crores of revenue today, right? So Book My Show initially kept itself to movie tickets, but soon, it had its fingers in various pies, right? And these days it offers tickets for just about any type of entertainment, be it a play in Hyderabad, or be it a movie in Chennai, it a stand-up comedy show in Delhi, or a rock show in Mumbai, a sports event in Pune, wherever there is events happening. And as you can see, it actually is catering to more than 5,000 plus screens, right? So imagine the amount of data that is pouring into their platform. Every second there is data pouring into their platform, and there are real time decisions being made, real time updates being shown to every consumer, just like you and me, right? While booking a ticket, you won't want, a delayed response that, somebody has taken your seat already, and so on, right? So customer experience is very important, which means that providing real time data to customers, uh, and enhancing that real time experience becomes paramount, right? So those are some of the challenges. And then not just that, there is a whole payment system attached to this platform, and so on. So the ticket booking can be done via mobile, right? I mean, it is available on mobile, which is, predominantly iOS and Android, and can also be done using a web app, right? On various different browsers on your desktops or laptops, where we can actually do these bookings. um, what else can I tell you about this company, right? Okay, so in 2017 time frame, this company actually did various different kind of tech upgrades, right? So the most relevant one that time was the progressive web app upgrade that they did, because they found that most of their customers are on the mobile phone, and even it's a pain for the customer to keep updating their app. So what could be a faster way? That time, 2017 is still like 8 years back, right? PWAs were very popular, and this company adopted to that, right? The app now allows users to check, show timings, book tickets, read reviews, watch trailers, and it provides 24 by 7 customer support. That is today. It wasn't so 10 years back, it wasn't so 15 years back. So something kept improving, right? Year over year. Now the volume part is just unimaginable. I mean, all of you guys probably know this Bahubali movie, and 15 million plus tickets got sold over a weekend, and this platform could handle it. The platform or the app did not crash, right? And why I'm specifying all these numbers, these big numbers, is if the company keeps the customer experience front and center, the decisions become easy. Whether you want to do X or Y, what is best for the customer becomes an easy decision. So at this point in time, let's say, there is a decision to be made between, shall I show, 5 movies at the same time on the mobile phone, or shall I give that time of the engineers to build maybe, some technology which gives, let's say, a minute of performance improvement, or even a few seconds of performance improvement, right? So those are the decisions that could be made when you have customer centricity. And I feel this app, I use it quite often, and I feel this app does have a lot of customer centricity built in, right? um, all right. Now, after, so 2019-20, when there was COVID, when people were actually not booking any movie tickets, people almost stopped using. I can't say stopped using, but the usage became very, very low, right? And the company started adopting itself to OTT streaming, so that the out of home entertainment. Now, recently they acquired a company in food delivery business, just like Zomato. They have acquired a company. It will be interesting to figure out what they are doing. So today this company stands at 78% market share, right? So imagine 78% of the tickets that are sold online in India get booked through this one company, right? So did all of this happen in a day? Obviously not. Every company starts small. And remember, Amazon was also selling books once upon a time. They used to sell in the US only, and then that was 97, I think. And then they were accepting credit cards only, and nowadays they are worldwide, right? They accept all sorts of payments, and they don't just sell books, they sell thousands of other items, right? So it takes time. As you're building the company, there are a few things that one needs to keep an eye on as the company or product is getting built. One, how is my customer changing and how is my customers needs changing? Second, what kind of technology help am I getting from the market? And third is, how am I going to market, right? How am I delivering the product to the customer? How am I putting value in front of my customers? Am I doing it 6 months, every year, every 6 months I will give you a release, or am I doing it real time, right? Even without the customer noticing that the product has changed, right? Has evolved, behind the doors. So imagine the amount of work, right? I mean, talking to your sales guys to understand, what their new sales strategy is, talking to your top management to understand where the company goals are, talking to the customers to understand what the customer goals are, and then understanding technology and technology limitations to figure out, what should be or should not be or can be or cannot be done in a product in a certain period of time. All of that basically is product management, right? So it's all about managing a product through its life cycle, right? As you can imagine, there is a lot of orchestration required between, talking to customers and, understanding their needs. Customers might give you a very specific need that I want to do this, but are you just going to add that into your product, or are you going to see that, okay, these 3 people are asking me this, but can I make it a scalable feature or a scalable experience for all of my customers, right? So figuring out the likelihood whether the product will sell in the market, right? And then working with the engineering team to build the product. All of this is product management. So in summary, managing a customer experience that is of value to the customer and also value to business is the product management role, right? Now this particular thing is um, you know is a very fulfilling kind of career in itself. So those of you, who like to design and build products, like to talk to customers, like technology, like to manage products, like to manage, now the new concept is product led offerings, right? So product is leading the sales of the company. So the actually you don't even need sales, right, to do to sell the product sells by itself, right? That's the new concept that's coming into being. So how do you build that, all of that into the product, is the product management business, right? So we'll talk about this in much more detail to understand what is product management, how it is done in the corporate world today, and why it has suddenly got prominence, right? I mean, if you go back to about, let's say, 2010 or 20, maybe 2005, right? So about 20 years back or 15 years back, this product management term also was not known to a lot of people. But now everybody knows it because this has come front and center as we are evolving there. So we are going to look at a particular case study, right? And we are going to use this case to understand product management better and various different facets of product management better as we move through this presentation, right? So here is a electric vehicle. It's a EV scooter, right? And the name of the model is Kasi. For those who are curious, Kasi means speed in Swahili language, which is spoken in Kenya and Uganda and that area. This company has been around for 4 years, and let's assume that it is our company, right? We all are working for this company, and we all are going to manage this product, right? What you are seeing on the screen right now. Today's revenue is about 100 crores. So from 4 years of operation, the company has come up to a level of 100 crores. There are 95,000 customers in India, and India only, to be specific. So this company is India only so far. Why are the customers buying it, right? What is causing the customers to buy this product? That it gives a good range. As you can see, the design is very sleek and very lightweight. So it gives a range of about 127 kilometers for every charge. The maximum speed that the vehicle can attend is 60 kilometers per hour, and the weight that this vehicle can carry, the maximum weight that the vehicle can carry, is 150 kgs. And this is why this product is selling in the market today, right? Now, what are the new demands from the customer, right? So they want a colored dashboard. So as you can see, we haven't provided a dashboard as yet to the customers, but now customers want a colored dashboard. It's not just any digital dashboard, which is like archaic looking, but nowadays everybody wants touchscreens and colored dashboard. So that's one demand. The other demand from customers is that, hey, you guys don't have Google Maps integrated in the app. So we want Google Maps. We want to connect to a music app called Musify, right? So just like you guys must be listening to music online on various different apps on your cell phones, this vehicle wants connectivity to a music app so that you can actually play on play sound on the vehicle itself, right, through speakers which are connected inside the vehicle. And then the last one is the battery recharge. So today a lot of customers are complaining that it takes so long to recharge the battery. You should do something about it, right? So we want quick battery recharge. And what does quick mean? Less than 2 hours is what the customers are saying. If you can give us a battery which charges full within 2 hours, we are happy with it, right? We'll move forward with it. What problems? What are the customer complaints today, right? So this electric vehicle app notifications are delayed. So this vehicle obviously has Bluetooth connectivity with a mobile phone app, and there are delayed notifications. I mean, I get like overnight, 7 whatever 6 a.m. in the morning, I wake up, I start seeing notifications from yesterday, right? Whereas I should have seen those notifications from the vehicle while they occur itself, right? So let's say some um, uh, you know um, let's say there is tire pressure. Okay, tire pressure is low. I should have seen the notification as soon as the tire pressure went low. I can't see the notification 6 a.m. in the morning telling me that yesterday 4 p.m. in the afternoon your tire pressure was low, right? So that's one kind of complaint. The second is the vehicle feels heavy to handle. So whenever there is a pillion, a second person sitting on this vehicle, it suddenly becomes very heavy to handle, right? So either it could be, the size of the vehicle needs to be bigger, maybe the vehicle itself needs to be a little more heavier to handle the weight of two people. We'll have to figure what we have to do. But today the customer complaint is that it's too heavy to handle. And then some customers also have complained that there are starting problems in monsoon. So there is something that is happening on, maybe, this whole starting electric vehicle starting mechanism, where maybe, some part is getting rusted or, disconnected, some electrical shorting is happening, something is happening causing the starting problem for the vehicle, right? So this is the background of what this vehicle is about, what this product is about, where we are today, right? And we'll see where we land as we move forward, right? But this is the case study that we'll use as we go forward here. All right, now I'll give you a few um, minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Tell me what questions come to your mind about this company or this product, right? So I want each of you to, pull out your mobile phones or take a paper and pencil, or whichever way you prefer. Write down and send in chat what questions come to mind of what you see here on the screen, right? So, so let's take maybe 1 or 2 minutes and then continue. All right. Anybody wants to talk about, what questions come to mind? Let me check the chat here. So please send your questions in chat. I will. Let's have some questions. So Divya is saying, how is it different or better than other companies out there? Perfect. Send your questions in chat. Yeah, makes sense, Divya. So do they provide multiple models or variations? Yeah. What else? Imagine that we all are working for this one company. So, and the product information is out there, but there is so much information which is not there, right? So what comes to your mind? Anything else? Let me give you maybe a few hints, right? So, like Divya, you said, what are other companies doing? So there is a whole information about what market it operates, what competition. Yes, you said it right. What is the customer demographic, right? So one of the things is customers itself, and the second one is the customer service, which is how easy or difficult it is for them to track the customer issues. Yes, correct. You can just each of you, I would recommend that take a piece of paper and pencil and keep jotting down points, various things. Just imagine this product in your mind and keep jotting down all the various things that come to your mind about this product. So maybe I'll give you a few more hints. Um, there could be a certain class of customer looking at this particular scooter, right? There is a particular class of customer that comes to your mind, right? Not, you know, each person in the Indian population will be able to use this. So what comes to your mind? Who is the kind of customer for this vehicle? Okay, not everyone. That's a good answer. But can you tell me, what kind of customer comes to your mind when you see this product? Yes, Pigo. I agree that this is not for everyone. Yeah, but what is the target audience? Can you go couple of levels deep? Who comes to your mind? Kind of people riding this. Techniques that we have learnt on how to be curious about a product, right? So what comes to my mind, or what comes in general to all of us collectively, right? So understanding the market and competition, right? So for this vehicle, what is the average speed? um, I'm talking about competition also, right? So the weight carrying capacity of competitors, do I know that? In the same price segment, so I if my vehicle is selling for 1 lakh rupees, then around the same price, what is the weight carrying capacity of all my competitors, right? um, then we have our own, why our vehicle is being bought by customers. Similarly, we want to know why people are buying the competitor's product, right? Then beyond the stated range, speed and weight carrying capacity, what are the underlying needs or pain points that these customers are getting addressed in other products, right? So a little deeper into let's say range. Okay, so is range about anxiety of running out of charge, or um, ability to do daily commute without frequently charging? What is it that the customers are really happy about, right? That's something which we need to understand. And similarly, so on and so forth, right? So deep dive into customer behavior. We already have 9,500 customers. How much of data can we collect from these customers on their age, income, occupation, location, so that we can start building or refining our persona? Already we have a persona for our customers, but we can keep refining it, that who are these people who are loving our product and want to buy and are loyal with our product, right? So deep diving into customer behavior is very important, and getting feedback from customers. So are these people daily commuters? Are they delivery services? Are they leisure riders? Who are these people who are actually buying our product, right? Understanding that will help us design our product better, design features or experiences in our product much better than where we are today. Okay. All right. Then the next one is exploring of the solution and innovation. And we are not, when I say exploring, we are not like running towards actually solutioning, finding a solution right away, but just looking at the product, looking at, oh, you know what, why are customers saying that they need a battery which charges less than 2 hours, right? So getting a little deeper into that, those are the questions and the data or the answers to those questions which are going to be helpful for you. You are going to use them as data points to make a lot of decisions in the future, right? And we are going to run through that process today, right? Then there is the whole business and operational insight, right? So today, what is the average revenue per customer? We have 100 crores of business and we have 9,500 customers, right? Then who is selling, right? Are there certain dealerships which are selling more? Is it getting sold more in northern India, southern India, east, west? What is it, right? And then there could be several other questions on specific pain points of customers and so on, right? So asking a lot of questions becomes paramount, because those questions lead to understanding of data, which is going to lead to making data backed decisions, right? Making sound decisions on the product, whether we should do this or that, is always going to be a question every day, probably in your corporate life, or if you plan to set up your own businesses, whether I should spend money doing this, whether I should spend money or time doing that, right, is always going to be a, a question posed to you. You will be posing it to yourself, pretty much every day in your career, right? And how does one get past that question, which one to do first? There is of course a technique to prioritize those items, but understanding of this background data helps the prioritization process even better. So let's say, um, for the sake of conversation, we want to sell this product in Malaysia. Okay, so we are selling already in India, but we want to sell in Malaysia. Now, can any one of you answer this question? Should we sell in Malaysia? Should we not sell in Malaysia? Is it going to be a gut feel kind of answer, or is it going to be more technical analysis? Obviously, what is it that we are going to do if we are going to sell a product in a different country? So there are several questions again that come to mind, but like we did curiosity related questions which gave us certain data, we have to apply other things that we have learned, right? Like critical thinking, right, around this particular question that is getting posed. Should we sell in Malaysia or not, right? Can't be just a yes or no answer. It has to be an elaborate exercise of product market fit analysis, right? So answer that you see on the screen already is that we need to do a product market fit analysis, which in very simple terms is another way of critical thinking and then applying various different mental models to come up with the best case scenario. There is never such thing as the perfect answer, right? The perfect solution. But in the given context, what is the best that you can come out with? This kind of analysis helps doing that, right? So think about what we need to do to launch in a new country, right? um, there are several products that have failed because this particular exercise of product market fit analysis was not done, right? Was not done in the right manner, and those products failed. So recent example was Zomato Legends, right? So Zomato had this product called Zomato Legends, where sitting in Mumbai, I can order food from Hyderabad and Calcutta and Lucknow and here and there, right? So across India, so intercity food delivery. And unfortunately, that model did not succeed, and this even the CEO of Zomato, you can look up that story. He actually tweeted about the failure, and he tweeted specifically talking about the product market fit analysis failure, right? So maybe if they had done better analysis, they wouldn't have launched the product, or maybe they would have launched something else, right? In lieu of what they had to launch, and in 2 years time, they had to shut down Zomato Legends. Okay, so think about all those questions again, right? Which will help us launch our product. You guys know our product is the EV vehicle, right? Think about those questions, and we'll talk about those in a moment. All right, so what is product market fit analysis, right? So to understand, and by the way, this exercise is done when there is a lot of uncertainty whether I should do this or not, whether I should launch my electric vehicle, my electric scooter in Malaysia or not. It can't be just a simple yes and no answer, but we have to make a, a decision based on risk, right? How much of risk do I see? Whether I see that I have mitigated the risk sufficiently. If I feel so, then my product is fit for the market and I will launch, right? So let's look at the typical questions that a product manager or a set of people, right? A lot of times when a big decision like this is taken to launch a product in another country, it is not just the product manager, it is this finance manager. There are several other people who are involved in this kind of decision, right? So what is my market, right? Malaysia. Who are my customers? Do I have the persona? Which basically means that I should have a good understanding of who am I selling to. Am I selling to let's say the females in Malaysia? What age? Am I selling to all the females, or am I selling to all the female customers, prospects from, let's say, the age of 18 to 35, right? That boundary you start drawing around the product, that I'm not, when I launch the product, I'm not going to sell it to everybody, all the 50 million people that live in Malaysia. I'm going to sell it to a female persona, right? Who is urban and who is between the age of 18 to 35, right? So I know my boundaries, because now I can design a product and see whether this product will sell to that particular segment. Now, where does that segment, by the way, come from? Whether it should be 18 to 35 or whether it should be 35 to 50, there is a lot of feedback that one can get from the market itself. And there are other techniques which will not go in detail in this session, but there are other techniques to get customer feedback on what kind of product will they like to buy and so on, right? So getting that feedback, that out of every 100 customers, more than 50% customers are in this 80 to in this 18 to 35 bracket, So I'm going to first tranche, I'm going to target those customers, right? What problem does my product solve? Are these customers using my product to go long distance, like 300 kilometers from one place to another and all that? No, these are typically office, um, you know office workers. They are going from their home to their office and office to their home, and my vehicle is most suited for that kind of working class, right? So working class in urban cities, females between 18 to 35 becomes my target base. And the problem that I'm solving is that I can cheaply provide urban transportation, right, point to point, and that becomes big value. So finally, I have to, product managers typically do this exercise of writing down, right? I mean, really taking a piece of paper and pencil and writing down what value my customer is getting from my product, right? Because then that is going to be conveyed to customers in various, marketing content, in advertisement, in your sales pitches, in how your investors are looking your product, and so on, right? So value to customer is very important. You have to have a statement, you have to have a point of view of what value is your customer getting from your product. Competitive analysis, we talked about. I need to understand who else is selling in Malaysia right now and how am I different, and then how am I going to get new customers, right? So not um, every of my prospect is suddenly going to buy my product, right? So maybe first month only so many will buy. Second month, how can I do a 5% or a 2% improvement on top, and so on, right? And lastly, how am I going to monetize? So how am I going to make money? Now for each of these, one would build a model, which basically means on paper you do a mathematical calculation to tell you that there is value to customer. Yes. Is there enough potential to grow to the market? It shouldn't happen that there are only 2000 customers in Malaysia, and then once you sold to those 2000, there was no other customer who was ready to buy, right? So is there enough potential to grow? Yes. Is there enough value? Yes. Am I differentiated from competition? Yes. And here is my strategy: go from 2000 in the first month to 2500 after 3 months to 4000 after 6 months, and so on, right? So what is the customer acquisition strategy, and how am I going to retain those customers also, and how am I going to make money, right? So once you have reasonable answers to all of this, you have a product market fit, right? So which basically means it seems reasonable to go to market, given that all these questions have a positive response. So for a typical product market fit in Malaysia, so Malaysia presents, a distinct set of opportunities and challenges for electric vehicles. And here is an analysis which I did, right, for Malaysia. But this is what a product manager typically does to understand the market and the product market fit a little better. This is just a very high level picture I'm showing you. There is a lot of data that one has to crunch to arrive at some of these decisions, right? So while there are similarities in Indonesia, right? So I mean, there is Thailand, there is Cambodia, there is Indonesia. So similar countries around Malaysia, but why only sell into Malaysia, right? So there are certain product market fit analysis. So price sensitivity, the lot of Malaysians, like rebates on products. Demographic, we said 18 to 30 or 18 to 35. Yes, that's the target that we will sell. What is the total cost of ownership for the customers? There is still a lot of petrol vehicles in Malaysia. So what is it that will entice them to buy an electric vehicle? If we can showcase to them that over 5 years time you end up saving a lot of money on electric vehicles, then that becomes a you know a way for these customers to or easy decision for these customers to jump from a petrol vehicle to an electric vehicle. How is my support going to be, right? Can I provide battery swap stations? Business and branding, how much, what are the KPIs and the return on investment that I'm going to keep? KPIs are key performance indicators, and ROI is return on investment, right? So these two numbers also will tell me that how am I going to progress in the first 12 months, let's say, after I launch my product in Malaysia. Am I going to launch myself, or I'm going to sell through some partnership? So there may be some local two-wheeler companies and I will sell through them, right? So for example, in India, Hero, right? Hero Motors has this partnership and they sell Harley Davidson motorcycles, right? So you can, always do that to start selling in a new country, and then, you can have your own. So this, once I have reasonable understanding around all this, I can safely say that yes, my product market analysis um, seems like in place. Um, you know, there is there are certain things which I will need to change for Malaysia. Am I going to do a complete knockdown kit? And maybe over a period of time, I can set up my own factory there, right? It can't be just an imported product, because then price wise, I may not be able to compete with the local product for long, right? So product market fit analysis yielding pretty much, positive um, results. I'm ready to launch into Malaysia. But now let's roll back a little bit, okay? And let's look at how, you know, I mean, we have the Malaysia analysis ready, and likewise, we can do a similar kind of analysis whether our product is, a new country launch ready. Yes, why Malaysia, why not Indonesia? Yes, that analysis. Should we invest in fast charging? Should we invest in Google Map? Should we do, invest in weight reduction? There are several areas that we could invest our money, right? But let's keep that on the side and look at our company targets, right? Typically you will find that every company has what is called as a growth strategy. But how does one build this growth strategy, right? How does this growth strategy come about? Who decides, what is success and what is not success, right? So this is another interesting, very interesting area that remember, we talked about KPIs. These are nothing but goals, right? I mean, the if you are doing, you know, if you are doing 500 crores today, you do 520 crores the next year, right? So that kind of becomes a target to go after. Who sets the target? Typically, it's the board of directors or somebody at the top. But remember that, you have to break down your long term target into what you can achieve in 1 year. So can you go to 5 countries in 1 year? Probably not. You probably don't have the wherewithal, right? You know what to do, but can you do it? You would rather not risk it by going to 5 countries in 1 year. So your plan starts splitting, that okay, you know what, I'll go to maybe one country the next year, and then 2 or 3 countries in the year after, and then all 5 countries the year beyond that, right? That is how you lay out certain milestones on a longer timeline, and that is what becomes a annual operating plan, right? So what do I need to do in this year? And typically, companies think about these plans from a year over year perspective, right? So though, I may have like a 5 year plan, I will still only look at this year's plan very, very sharply, because I know back of my mind that maybe 60-70% of whatever I plan for next year or the year after, it is going to change. By end of the year, something else happens, the requirements change, the laws around, energy consumption change, the bilateral relationship between countries change, the local laws change, anything can happen which can push or which can change my roadmap, right? So the roadmap always, when you think of roadmap, think about roadmap being kind of your plan to get to your current target, yearly target. So it's always, typically, people talk about a 1 year roadmap. Okay, let's look at what we have on our roadmap in the next 12 months. And then they even break it down into like 3 months, and then go aggressively behind achieving that. So breaking this down, making sure that you are taking the good bets, you're doing your risk analysis correctly, all of that is a part of the planning that happens, right? So any questions so far before we can move ahead? Okay, so let CEO and the board of directors, they set targets for the company. Um, these could be, short-term targets or long-term targets, and these targets are also called KPIs, right? Key performance indicators, and they are quantitative values for the short term, which is called the annual operating plan. So in the next 12 months, what are the KPIs that I'm going to achieve? And we'll look at some of the numbers, right? And over the next 3 years or 5 years, what am I going to achieve? So over a longer range, this is my plan, and over a short range, which is 1 year, this is my plan, right? Those two things are basically called what is my strategy, product and business growth strategy, right? And there is a plan always on how am I going to grow the company. As you guys know, we are only talking about companies which are for profit and which are hungry for growth. And growth happens in two manners, right? One is the revenue growth, which is typically called as business growth, and then there is customer growth, right? Which is the number of customers that I'm serving, are they growing also, right? All right. So let's look at a, a, an actual product growth strategy here, right? So as you can see, there is, um, there is on the right side, if you look at the green, the columns with the green header, our company has set a target of 120 crores in 1 year, 800 crores in 5 years. And similarly, there are target for number of customers. Today we are at 9,500. We want to go to 11,000 in 1 year's time, and so on. If you want, I can quickly show you the numbers that here, we are at 100 crores, 9,500 customers, right? And all these customer asks and futures. Now, all these basically show up in the growth strategy also on how we want our customers or our company to be growing, correct? So that's what you see in the columns with green header. Now, for the columns in the orange header, those are the several things that we can do to get to our goal. But which one should we do now or in this year, and which will help us achieve goals for this year versus what we should do in the future, right? So that we are set up better for a success of, in our 3 year plan, right? So there could be, at the same time, there could be all these things that you see in, in the orange columns, right? So what am I going to do on the market segment? Let's say if this, we are already serving a market which is reasonably well, but right now, this year I'm going to target the urban commuter more. When I say urban commuter, it is not only about selling to the urban commuter, but building the product which has features, which has experience, which are asked by the urban commuter, right? That is what I mean by going after that particular market. We are going to do, food delivery. So there are all these, as there is Zomato and Swiggy and all of those guys, they use vehicles, right? Nowadays I see that, a lot of these guys use petrol vehicles, but once in a while I've seen that, they have also migrated to electric vehicles. Can we work with these large, Zomato and Swiggy or Ola, Zomato or Swiggy like delivery companies, and figure out a business model where we do something specific for food delivery? Now, what could be different for food delivery? It could be, a large basket which is attached at the back of my electric vehicle, right, where the person can keep the food or the delivery items. So it's a single person ride, but it has a basket at the back, right? So those are vehicles which I'll make only for food delivery, because you see so many people on the road, that is a big market there, and so on. So I will not read into everything here, but as you can see, there are at least how many here? 25 things that I can do, right? But how many are am I going to do in this year? Maybe just the top line, right? So urban commuters, fast charge, OEM body, right? Which means that until today, when I say OEM, it means own equipment manufacturing, which means that the body of my vehicle, I was getting it done from somewhere else. This year, I will start doing it in house, because I know that there is a significant cost saving if I build that body internally, right, of my vehicle. I'll continue selling in India, and maybe next year I will go to Malaysia and Thailand, and then sales I will do in house. So I won't do any distribution or channel sales and so on. That's my year one plan, and I can go to 120 crores, right? From 100 crores, I can go to 120 crores. From 9,500 customers, I can go to 11,000 customers, right? So that becomes my short term plan, right? And when I say short term, it is typically called as AOP, which is annual operating plan, right? So that's just one layer, right? The first row that you see is that layer. And then the graph, as you can see, how am I going to grow my company? Because the investors are going to ask questions like, okay, this year you grew 20%, right, in revenue, but I want more growth next year and the following year. Then you might negotiate saying that, yeah, but then in that case, I need to start selling into South Africa and Indonesia. Now South Africa, they need a different kind of power supply, and so on, right? So all those changes that the vehicle needs investment. So it's always a trade-off of how much is getting invested back in the company, for what kind of return that is going to come in the future, right? So all of this is a part of product growth strategy. Now let's say we have a strategy in place. Now we move to the next one, which is building a roadmap, right? It's very easy to understand what a roadmap is. You are going from, Hyderabad to Amritsar. You just insert, your source and destination in Google Maps, and it gives you a typical, guided map, right? That here, take this route to hit Amritsar in the least amount of time and the most economical way, right? You can always go to Calcutta and then go to Amritsar. You can go down south to Kochi and then go to Amritsar from Hyderabad. So there could be other ways, there could be like a million different ways to reach Amritsar, but here is the most optimum way, right? That's what Google tells you. Now, keep that thought in mind. So to understand a little more about the roadmap, let's drill down again one level deeper, right? So imagine that four people are lifting up the motorcycle, right, and putting it in a truck, right? So the four people standing on four different corners of a motorcycle, and their job is to pick up that vehicle and put it in a truck, right? Do these four people share equal weight? Probably not, right? Most likely they do not, right? It's not like a well balanced square cupboard that you lift four corners. Everybody, it's like 100 kg cupboard. Everybody gets to lift only 25 kg out of the 100 kg. That doesn't happen with a motorcycle. It is a little imbalanced, kind of clumsy thing to lift up, right, for four people. So which basically means that the answer is no. Do these four people share the weight equally? No, right? Each one contributes their bit towards the final goal, which is to move the bike from the road to, up in the truck, right? So the KPI is same. Everybody's KPI is that in the next 15 minutes you have to pick up this vehicle and put it in the truck, right? But each one's contributions are different, right? So to meet the final goal, some of these guys might say, okay, you know what, let's build a ramp, right? Let's not lift up the vehicle, let's build a ramp from the road to the truck and push the vehicle up. Some people might say, oh, you know what, let's get a forklift, let's hire a contractor, forklift contractor, or somebody, a crane kind of mobile crane, and they will lift the vehicle and then move into the truck. Some people will say, let's call two more people, because we have to do this job in 15 minutes. Four are not enough, we'll call two more people and we'll put it there. And maybe, some might say, let's give it a try, maybe, the four of us can do this in 15 minutes, right? So there are so many options to do the same thing, right? But each option has its own risks and cost, right? You look at building the ramp is a cost, right? Very low risk. Once you build a ramp, building the ramp is also low risk, and pushing the vehicle up the ramp is also low risk, right? Than picking the vehicle up, right? So risk is relative. Calling the crane to pick up the vehicle and moving it inside the truck, maybe, the least risky, because it's well secure. The crane is also, another strong vehicle, but very high cost, right? Maybe, you'll have to pay the person in the crane some 10,000 rupees for those 15 minutes to pick up your vehicle and put it in the truck. Calling two more people is additional cost, and then you have to go find those people, right, who are ready to help you within the next 15 minutes. So that's additional delays that may happen. Or just figure out, how the four are going to lift it up and put it, right? So as you can see, there are multiple ways to achieve the end result in a roadmap, right? But the typical process that gets followed in the industry is understand, what my AOP target is. So I have to go to 120 crores as my revenue. So let's assume that 100 crores this year also, I was able to achieve 100 crores. Next year, 100 crore, definitely will go. But that additional 20 crores that we want, what is it that we are going to do to get that additional 20 crore, right? So what is essential to hit that target? And then arrange it on a timeline. So let's say these 5 things, if we do, then we'll be able to go to that target, and each one has their cost, right? So just like that crane example, maybe we hire a crane. So maybe we hire a third party company and tell them that, all that they have to do this year is just sell our vehicle. So basically what we are doing is no changes to our vehicle. We have invested all the money in sales, right, and marketing. Or balance it, right? Give some of that money to engineering and say, okay, here is your budget and you can hire 5 more people, but I want the Google Maps to be integrated. So that, I get that 20% more, X% more customers will give me that 20% more revenue. But that will take some time, right, to build. What else can I do? So there is all of these, maybe 15-20 items that we saw earlier can be put on a timeline and a risk kind of a heat map chart to figure out, how much each of them take time. Because you can't have, if you are let's say 200 people work in your engineering, suddenly you can't have 400 people working for you, so that, it doubles. You are going to double the cost also if you want to double that way. So with the same 200 people, what can you do? Or with 10 more people, if you go from 200 to 210 people in engineering, what can you do? And so on, right? So that's once you have a good understanding of the end goal, you are able to take those decisions and build something like this, which is a Gantt chart like roadmap, right? I mean, this is the most simplest form to showcase. That's why I'm showing it in a Gantt chart. There are various different ways to showcase roadmaps, but because one of the things is like, each of these could have dependencies on each other. So what you see in the roadmap is, let's say I have top three themes, right? One is how am I going to acquire customers? The leftmost column, you see how am I going to acquire customers? What is going to be my customer retention strategy? And what is going to be my revenue growth strategy? Now, under customer acquisition, what do I want to do? I want to build these features, blah, blah, blah. Under customer retention, what do I want to do? Oh, there are starter problems in my vehicle. Oh, my mobile notifications don't come on time. So I have to fix those bugs. And then I have to make sure that my mobile app is not crashing. That is what I need to do to keep my current customers. And then what is my revenue growth strategy? So am I going to sell in India? Yeah, probably, definitely. And but what about Malaysia? Yeah, maybe towards the end of the year you can start selling in Malaysia also, or maybe we'll move it to next year. But can we start that Malaysia program right away? No, we need some more data. So it starts in M2, which is second month, right? So the green dots that you see, the green blocks that you see is the delivered experience, right? So always remember that roadmap is a collection of delivered experiences. When I say experience, even the smallest change that you see in WhatsApp, for example, right? Today you see the search button on the top right corner, and tomorrow you see that the search button, that magnifying glass, is now a little smaller. Yesterday it was a little bigger. Even that small thing is called a customer experience change, right? So it is changing the customer experience than it was yesterday. Or it could be a whole, new app, new upgrade, throw away the old one, log into our new fresh app. It could be a large wholesale change also, right? But that is also called as a customer experience. Similarly, each one of these that you see here, adding Google Maps, connecting to music app, colored dashboard, or let's say Malaysian Bahasa language, right? Instead of Hindi and English, we introduce Bahasa because we are going to sell. Bahasa is the language spoken in Malaysia, so we introduce that language. Each of these is customer experience, and the green blocks that you see are the delivered experience. So what we are promising, right, to the CEO and the board or whoever else, our managers, is that first line, for example, fast charge. Okay, fast charge is what? Under 2 hours my battery goes from zero to full. When are you going to give me? I'm going to give you in month 4. When I'm going to start work? I'm going to start work now. So from now, 3 months I will work on this fast charge feature, and I will deliver it to you in month 4, right? Similarly, when I'm going to deliver Google Maps and so on. So now you can start reading the map better, right? And then as you go down, you find that South Africa, Indonesia, East Africa, all these countries I'm going to do next year. But am I going to start work this year? Yeah, I'll start working on them, but I'm not going to go to those markets this year. I've done the market fit analysis. I am reasonably confident that these countries will give me good revenues, but I'm going to launch next year, not this year. What you see on the screen is a 1 year roadmap, right? And what engineering teams or a lot of cross-functional teams in corporate do is they collaborate with each other on each of these aspects. Now, for example, just that fast charge feature, if my sales guy knows that my fast charge feature is coming in month 4, right? So let's say we are whatever time, right? From today, 3 months, I will deliver that feature to you. That salesperson can base their sales strategy, marketing person can base their marketing content based on what feature is coming at what point in time and what should they be prepared for, right? So that's basically a roadmap, right? Now let's assume that, just a quick recap, right? We have product market fit analysis done, we have a growth strategy in place, we have a roadmap in place. Now what we now need to do is, within these, right, within these concepts or each of these, as you see, initiatives, right, how do we know, what do I have to do first and second? Fast charge 3 months, Google Map 4 months, and all that. Where does that 3 months and 4 months, where is it coming from, right? What industry follows is another concept called an ROI analysis, or is it also called, it's also called business case building. Sometimes it is also called goal gating, but let's just call it concept scoring, right? So what is concept scoring? Before I go there, right, as you see here, this is basically all the things that a product manager would do as they are moving from the initial research on the product to delivery, rollout, and then post performance rollout of the product also, right? So there are multiple things that happen under product management, and we are going to talk only about concept scoring for now. So where should we begin, right? So let's zoom in to the concept scoring part. And what is a concept? It is basically a new idea that comes to my mind or anybody's mind, that hey, how about making our entire electric vehicle um, using solar panels. So as the vehicle is moving on the road, it keeps charging, right? That's a concept. You're not invested even 1 rupee in that concept, but whether it will work or not, we will find out. But okay, you said that this may be something which we should look at. Let's write it down. That becomes concept number one. Somebody said, hey, can we introduce Google Maps? Because customers have been asking, so there is already evidence that somebody wants it and somebody is going to use it. But can we introduce it in this year? Okay, write it down. Google Maps becomes a concept, and so on, right? Fast charge. Okay, fast charge is a concept. Keep it there. Write it down. Malaysia, launching a product in Malaysia, not exactly a new concept, but it's a new country that you're going to launch. Write it down. Okay, so where are you writing all this down? We are writing it down in what is called as a concept document or a goal gate document, right? And why is it so important? Because it allows early validation of ideas before you go down the path that, hey, you know what, I think, Malaysia, if you go to Malaysia, it will be like the best decision. It will be like the grand business that we'll get. Or if we introduce Google Maps, and customers are going to buy our product like crazy. We can't go by gut feels, right? There is an idea that you have we looked at the right kind of data? Have we identified the flaws? Have we gathered enough feedback before we commit significant resources to that idea, right? Remember, in our roadmap, to build Google Maps, it is going to take us build Google, meaning build the integration to Google Maps. It's going to take us 4 months, right? 4 months is basically money, right? If you are going to spend 2 people doing Google work in for the next 4 months, it is 8 per person months of money that you are committing to that one feature. So it better be so good that it is going to give me that level of return, right? So a prototype or a concept document is essential for product development because it allows early validation of ideas, identification of potential design flaws, gathering user feedback before resources are committed, and it helps us communicate, right, with stakeholders or investors by providing a tangible representation of the product. So many companies follow this pattern of writing one-page document. So if one of you, as a student, comes to me saying that, hey, I have this new idea, I would say, wait, give me like a one-page write-up. But write-up on what? Here, I want to write up on, set the context, okay? A write up on what that opportunity is, right? What problem are we solving? What is the current state of things, right? Why does it matter to solve that problem now, right? What is the size and scale of the problem and the opportunity, right? If you know it, write it down. What are the primary goals that you want to achieve? Oh, I want to build Google Maps. Yeah, but why, right? If Google Maps is giving you 10,000 more customers, yes, that becomes your primary goal to achieve then. So write it down there, that because if I build Google Maps, I will get 10,000 more customers. Key metric, right? it has to be quantitative. It can't be my gut feel, right? So how are you going to measure the impact, the success? Am I really going to get those 10,000 and suddenly those 10,000 are not going to show up, right? It has to be a curve, right? How am I going to increase sales because of Google Map to that, those one, the extra 20 crores that I want in the next year, right? And what could be my secondary metric? So for example, my secondary metric could be that I will build Google Map integration in such a way that I can launch 5 more countries very quickly, because those countries also have similar demands. And then I want to understand, whether you have an internal approval. So you are driving the concept, yes, but who is approving this? Typically the person who is spending the budget approves this, and it could be some director in your company or our company. It could be the chief financial officer, it could be the CEO, but somebody who is assigning a budget and committing resources and committing money to this product is one of the big stakeholders, right? And there are several other contributors. So let's say, we are a team of 7 8 people who is going to deliver the Google Maps to the market. And we say that, okay, Joe Smith, you are the driver, and somebody else is the approver. Everybody else is going to be the programmer or the coder, right? And I need to inform the sales guys, the marketing guys, and so on and so forth, so that they know what is happening with this product, right? Because it's a equal commitment from everybody. It can't be that, the engineering team is building a feature without the salesperson saying that, hey, yeah, I'm going to sell that feature, right? And the salesperson can always say that, hey, I never told you to build it, I'm not going to sell it. So that kind of money is waste, right? So everybody has to be committed to the same goal at the same time. And then what is the cost of doing this? So yes, you want to build a feature, but how much time, what resources, and by when can I get it, right? What is the likely delivery date? So these are estimates at this point in time, but I want a one-page document which you can circulate between all these stakeholders that you see here. Let's say a group of 10 15 people who are going to read the document and either approve it or dismiss it, right? It's as simple. And when I say dismiss, it's not saying that your idea is bad, but basically saying that this idea is not suitable at this point in time, right? It's not suitable to go to Malaysia today, right? I like the idea, maybe there is business there, but not today. Let's park it for November, and let's park it for 6 months down the line, right? So we can bring that concept back at that point in time and do the same round, right? So at a time, there should be in a product company hundreds of such concepts, because it's just one page document that you are creating to get funding, to get committed resources towards building a certain customer experience. Always, by the way, these documents should be customer experience oriented, right? What is my customer going to get out of this should be always, prime and center. Any questions so far that we could answer? We are probably going to be done in the next maybe 5 minutes or so. But anything that can answer? Does this resonate? I mean, the whole thing about setting a goal, defining that goal, defining kind of, what my success criteria for that goal looks like, thinking about, what, what are the things in favor of my goal, what are the things against my goal, what are the risks involved, what typically would be the spend, all of that, right? It's like, it's like budgeting for a, for a trip with friends, right? If all of you friends think about going to a destination for a 1 day trip, there is always a decision to be made between that and the opportunity cost of what else you could do in that day, and then how much budget, and so on and so forth, right? Writing down whenever, product managers think about a new product idea, writing it down in a one page document does not cost much, right? It hardly cost anything. It might cost maybe 1 or 2 hours of that product manager's time, but it saves a lot of losses further down, right? If, for example, people go, do or build products with their gut feel, there could be so much of a probability that they are building the wrong product, and then they realize that only after the customer doesn't buy that product for that feature. Then why did you build that feature at all, right? Oh, that time it was a gut feel. Then why didn't we double check? So people have done that mistake, have been there, have spent the money, have spent the resources, have lost customers. And with that, large companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, they adopt this strategy where you write a very brief short document about what you want to build, why you want to build it, who are the customers, how am I going to make money, what if it doesn't work, how early can I cut my losses. Write it down, everything on like one piece of paper, get everybody's approval, and then move forward, right? So that's basically the whole idea behind this. Such a document looks like, right? This is a sample document of building Google Maps on Kasi. I will not spend more than maybe a day or 2 days writing this kind of document, because there is a lot of data collection that I have to do. I have to be reasonably convinced that I should be doing this or not. I think we should be doing it this in the next 3-4 months. So I present it to you all, who is my stakeholders, that if we do this, by end of third quarter we'll release it. It will, what is the secondary goal is, we'll have a lot of Google AI products which we can bring into our electric vehicle in the future, because Google is investing a lot in AI, and we can see how we can use that AI technology in our EV, right? Maybe we can make a talking vehicle or whatever. I'm just speculating here. But my primary target is 5% increasing in sales. So out of those 20 crores, right, I will take up 5 crores for Google Maps, right? So if you give me money to build Google Maps in our app, I can promise you that our revenue will go up by 5 crores. Then where is the extra 15 crores going to come from? It will come from any of these other things that we plan to do, right? And each member or each line item here is contributing to their own targets and goals, right? And this is why, going back to our example of lifting that vehicle up and keeping in the truck, there could be 100 ways to do it. Even with the 4 people lifting up that vehicle, the 2 people at the back are going to do the heavy lifting, right? So let's say our Google Map is one of those people, and the target is to bring 20 crores new revenue into the company. The Google Map is going to do heavy lifting, that okay, Google Map team promises that we'll bring 5 million revenue, 5 crore revenue extra. Some other team might say 1 crore, some other team might say half a crore, and so on, right? That is how all of these small enhancements come together to achieve that 20 crore growth target. And that becomes a roadmap for the company, because now everybody, the whole company is committed, and that is what is put in the annual operating plan, that the company is committed for these numbers, and here is how we are going to achieve it, right? So in a nutshell, just to summarize very quickly, we talked about um, what is product management all about. We talked about product market fit. We talked about growth strategy. We talked about roadmaps. We talked about, what is it required to do concept scoring and how is it done in the industry. And here is an example of, how exactly a document is floated to get, resources committed, right? So that brings us to end of the set A for the 4 set series in product management. Thank you very much, and you guys have a good day. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Um, I hope you got enough, enough to learn today. Feel free to write to us. Until then, we'll meet again. Bye now.